Hello, my name is Kylie Eustace. I'm the founder of Kylie's Professional. Now today I'm going to show you lots of tips and tricks that you can do with loose mineral pigments. So if you've ever been wondering how to use loose mineral pigments, you'd like to incorporate them into your makeup kit for personal use or professional use, I'll show you what you can do with loose mineral pigments. And I'll explain why I love loose mineral pigments so much. So there's so many things that you can do with loose pigments. So you can apply them just as is. You can use eyeshadow primers under them. You can mix them with different products. So you can mix them with eye and lip primer. You can mix them with our Mineral Intensity Transformer to create a waxy type product for eyebrows. You can mix them with just so many different things. So I'll show you everything you can mix it with first. So the eye and lip primer, or use it over eye and lip primer. You can mix it or use it with the transformer. So when you mix it with the transformer, I'll show you everything you can do with that. You can even mix the pigments just with foundation primer, and you can mix the pigments with like facial oils. You can also mix the pigments with lip gloss to create lip glosses and lipsticks and things like that. If you were to mix a pigment with eye and lip primer, it will be like a wet liquidy product that you could apply like a liquid eyeshadow or a liquid liner. But first I'll show you using the over eye and lip primer and using the product over Mineral Intensity Transformer, as well as using the product plain. So we've got the eye and lip primer up here. We're waiting for that to dry. So I do have the transformer here and just blend that in quite fine. You can also use the product wet or dry, even just by mixing it with water. So I'll use a deep shadow, a matte shadow called Merlot, just to show you this. So up here where we've got the eye and lip primer, I'm just pressing the shadow on. So you can see the product is quite intense. So down here we have the transformer. Another thing too, a lot of people do worry about fallout with loose pigments. So there's different ways of applying them. If you press the pigment into the eye and you don't have too much on your brush, you should not get fallout. So it's the same as if you were using a pressed product, you get a little bit of product on your brush, you don't want too much on your brush. So in the middle, I will use no primer. So you can see how the pigment, the intensity is a lot softer in the center. So that's how you can use the product. I love to use either the eye and lip primer or the transformer when I'm doing a professional makeup. For myself, for every day, I'm a bit lazy. So I just do a soft shadow just over I prep my whole face first, I do my foundation, and then I'll just do my shadow. If you are doing makeup for a professional event, or you want your makeup to last like hours and hours through the day, if you do get hot and sweaty or oily eyelids, I do recommend using one of the primers. What I'll show you is just using the product, say wet, or with say a beauty tonic or setting spray. So I'll use our setting spray. I'll just spray that onto my mat here, and I will show you how you can mix it with that type of product. And I'll also show you how to mix the product with the eye and lip primer. So you'll get slightly different results mixing it with different mediums. So with the eye and lip primer, you'll get a more creamy texture. With the beauty tonic, you'll get a finer texture. So you could use this if you were creating a liquid eyeliner. You could also use this to create a a lip liner, anything like that. So first I'll mix it with the beauty tonic. So up here we've got the beauty tonic, and you can see that very fine line. I think you can see that there. So yeah, it's wonderful, and you can use that on your eyebrows. You can make a lip liner. You could use it as an eyeliner, and you can apply it just as your shadow like that as well if you like. And if you mix it with plain water to apply your shadow, you can just dampen your brush and apply your shadow. With plain water, the water will dry and you'll be back to a powder line. Whereas with the beauty tonic, that will actually help set the product as well. So if you are creating a liquid liner or a lip liner and you want it to set, you definitely would use your beauty tonic, because that will help set the shadow as well. Same with the eye and lip primer. If you would prefer more of a creamy texture, so that dries quite just back to matte. But if you want to apply it quite creamy, I'll apply that down here. So that is mixed with the eye and lip primer. So that's another texture again. So that the texture feels a lot creamier with the eye and lip primer, and you can apply that as a shadow, a liquid shadow if you like as well. So I'll show you another colour, and I will show you what you can do if you do want to create, like a lot of people love a liquid luminizer, or they love a liquid shadow. And if you want it to be like a luminizer and it's going over the face, you can actually use foundation primer, moisturizer, or an oil with it. So I will show you that as well. So okay, so first I've got an oil, and I'm just mixing that with our Pearl eyeshadow, which is a very, very popular shade to create a highlighter. I don't know if you will get to see this. I'll put that up there. So that's with your oil. So you can see you can make it quite luminous and oily. I'm going to put that right up. I don't know if you can see that. So that could be applied even on like I wouldn't use Pearl, I'd use Dream on myself, but you could even apply that sort of up on the cheeks and just blend that in and keep it nice and creamy if you do like a cream highlighter. And it will stay quite dewy because of the oil in the product. So if you want a product that sets, mix it with your foundation primer, and it won't be quite as, it'll be a lot lighter than mixing it, say, with the eye and lip primer. And so you can do that there. And that will end up setting. So you can see the difference in the texture. And that could be even applied as a finer shadow as well, if you wanted to do that sort of thing. Now, the other benefit of the pigments, being able to multitask and mix them with anything you want, you can get away with not having so many products in your kit. So you might have a dusty matte shadow that you like to use as an eyeshadow. You might also like to use that as an eyeliner, but you might like to use that also as your brow wax. So again, the product I was telling you about, the Mineral Intensity Transformer, which is like a very waxy based product. If you mix that with your eyeshadow, you can create, so I'll just do that here on my hand, like a brow wax or a cream shadow. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll put on even an eyeshadow. I'll put a bit here. So you can see that there. So there's so many different products you can do with just a loose pigment. You can do a cream blush if you wanted to use a loose pigment to make your cream blushes. You don't have to have a cream blush and a loose blush, I should say. The other reason I love loose pigments is because for your professional work or your makeup kit, they are so hygienic. So your loose pigments will not hold bacteria. So if you don't put anything wet or dirty into your jar and you just use a dry brush, you're not going to put product in bacteria into your jar. In saying that, I do recommend decanting all your loose products for professional work. If it's for your own personal use, you can get away with just doing your own eyeshadow out of your pot by popping a tiny little bit into your lid and working from your own lid. For professional artists, I recommend before you start your work, choose the colours you're going to use and just pop a little bit of product into a tray like this, or you can actually pop it onto a wet tray, like a flat tray. You can also just tip a tiny few sprinkles of your shadows onto a paper towel and work from that paper towel. And so it's just so easy once you know what you can and can't do. I also do recommend synthetic brushes for loose pigments, and the reason I recommend synthetic brushes is they will hold onto your pigment much better than like animal hair brushes. Plus animal hair brushes aren't kind. So really, if I've got the product and I dip a brush on, the product shouldn't fall off the brush. So talking about your brushes with loose pigments, dense brushes or flat brushes where the hairs are quite compact will hold more pigment. They will also be easier to press the pigment on to the eye. If you use a softer, fluffier brush and you do put too much on your brush, you will end up with fallout. So put a little bit onto the brush. So it's not falling off the brush. You can see that there. So I have a tiny bit of pigment on that brush. So if you wanted to blend as you go with the loose pigment, there's a bit much on the brush. You can see there. You can blend it out as you go. So you can see I've just put the tiniest little bit of product, and you can build the product up. A loose pigment should help your makeup stay bold if it's a good quality loose pigment. You should not have a loose pigment where you pop it on your brush and you put it on the skin with no primer and it's all falling off everywhere, unless it's like a glitter or something like that that's super sparkly. So always have a look and try different pigments out, and you can purchase samples of pigments to see what you like. Obviously I love our loose pigments. They're award-winning, they're so dense and made for professional makeup artists, but they're also great to use for every day for ladies. And if you have any questions at all about loose pigments, please just send me a message. You can write a message in the notes or in the feed, and I will answer your questions. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more tips with you soon. Okay, thank you, bye-bye.